Buedu, Kailahun.
We are using the agenda we use on country. We are waiting for you have this one. See, we are making some update on the agenda. Against everything that this is bringing it over. But we think we should continue with what we did the promises. Right, so we'll request.
So, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Honorable Engineer from Kisiteng, Kailahun District. Of course, as you are all aware, we are no longer honorable members for constituencies. Rather, we are honorable members for the district as a whole. So whatever we say here, we will be saying it holistically on behalf of the district. And of course, in reality, by extension, the constituencies from which we are coming from. I feel honored and I feel opportune to have witnessed this particular meeting here with the view that I will use this very opportunity to say what I would have loved to have said in the meeting held in Koindu, which unavoidably I wasn't chance to be there by virtue of the tax we had at the House of Parliament. So, talking on behalf of the stakeholders, the people of the Kisi land, the Kisi kingdom, one, we want to say we are happy, we are very happy that the long-awaited project, the long-awaited goal we wanted to score is now available. So to us, that is a big success. In fact, the mere fact that you guys went there, I received several calls from stakeholders. Everybody was in jubilant mood, confirming to me whether really the people that are going there are not going there as a result of politics or whatsoever. And I told them, well, politics is over. So this is a reality. So first, we are happy. That is the first message. And thanks to His Excellency the President, of course, the Mano River Union, and all financiers of the said project. And secondly, we want to encourage the SLRA to at least work as a team with the pool of engineers, the experts that you guys have, to make sure you deliver the projects in the best quality ever in the history of your existence in this country. We know you supervise good roads, but this is a road that is going to be historic. It is a road that is needed by the people. It is a road that will be linking the borders of Guinea and Liberia. So, which is to say, it is going to be a very busy road. So if we have proper design in place, we have proper supervision, the consultant that will be supervising the job, the contractors that will be awarded the job, then definitely the end result, we are hopeful, will be good. And that is what we are yearning for. Lastly, I want to, on behalf of especially the affected people, those who will be direct beneficiaries from the project, I would like to officially ask SLRA or whosoever that is going to be in charge to make sure they have an inclusion policy. What is this inclusion policy that we'll talk about? You know, in project implementation, when the locals are involved, then it makes the work easier and beautiful. In fact, by so doing, you eliminate most of the challenges. So we are asking that if labor forces will be used, if jobs that will be sent out, or people that will be the project will be needing for the execution of the job are within the purview of the skilled or non-skilled people within the project affected areas, please let SLRA make sure the people are included. And lastly, I want to thank you again for calling us into this meeting, and I believe if there is this kind of collaboration, coordination between us all, then it makes life beautiful. We, the politicians, can even also help in the supervision of your project. SLRA or the consultants will not be there every day, but we are there on daily basis. Whether we are there in person or we are here, but we have people down there that gives us information on daily basis. So on that note, this is a very good beginning, and I am asking that we continue along this line, because if there are major projects of this nature, then you involve us, the politician, then the people down there realize we are all part of it, then it makes it beautiful. So I will not land without asking my elder sister, a colleague honorable, to also at least add a word or two to what I've said. So far, I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm Honorable Leone from constituency 001 in Sitori Chiefdom, Kailahun district. As you've heard from my colleague, this particular project you guys have started is not only going to benefit us, for each and every one of you. Koindu is a strategic place, and countries up to Mali used to come there to do their businesses. And by so doing, that will actually develop our economy in this country. Recently, like 4 months ago, I took quite a good number of Chinese organizations that came to build the international market. That will include hotels and air landing field also, you know. So I am more than happy. I am even I am bluffing you guys, because our area is not only going to be it's no longer going to be in the jungle, because there will be air flights landing there for businesses. And I hope and pray that it's not only going to rest in the pipeline, it's actually going to start moving, and but the Buedu road has still not started. All logistics are in place, but it hasn't started, and we hope and pray that you do it before the end of His Excellency's leadership. I thank you so much for going to Koindu. We wanted to go, but we just came in. I am in the appointment committee. I couldn't leave because I had appointees that I have to interview. Even from here, they are waiting. I'll be leaving you guys. This is why I was here. It's 8:45, when there was nobody. So unfortunately, I couldn't be in Koindu. But it's my pleasure, actually, and I'm really blessed to have such an opportunity to have such projects in my homeland. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe the SLRA is very much oblivious of the fact that the concerns raised by you people, especially the local community, project affected areas, are well noted by the SLRA, and we want to rest assure you that all concerns are taken care of. We don't want just to construct the road for just a limited period of time, and then over the very few years to come, the road got depreciated, dilapidated, and all the rest of it. We want to assure you that the SLRA, the skills we have, the kind of staff we have, will ensure that we meet to standards. That's the rest assured. And in fact, that is the reason why that is very much important that we have endeavored to fulfill these particular aspects of the project requirements, especially the bank's requirement, you know, to really address the environmental, the social, health impacts of people affected in the area. I believe once we are through with this, definitely the bank will just say, gentlemen, go ahead with your project. That's the only thing that is holding us now. So we want to allay your fears that the SLRA will do its level best to ensure that we meet to your expectations. Let the people of Buedu or Kailahun district in particular be rest assured of that. I take the message to them.
Yes, and I just wanted to add to what you just said. Please also don't forget about the swampy areas, because you have taken part of those swamps, you know, right in the middle, and these people have not yet been informed about it. I think I made a complaint here also about that, and somebody here told me to look into that and then try to compensate the people, because some farmers have actually almost going to lose their families.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am also made to understand that the EPA representatives are here. Representative is here. It's really very much important that your presence is highly required to be part of this disclosure. So you met us on an aspect of the agenda, which is statement, offering of statements. So I will now call on the EPA representative to just say a word or two before we proceed into the disclosure proper.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished honorable members of Parliament, and all the protocols observed. Good morning once again. Uri Kembe. I'm the Assistant Director of Field Operations at the EPA. A few days back, precisely on Monday, we were in Koindu with the Executive Chairman, who has sent his greetings. We traveled throughout the night, so if we met, he has another appointment at State House this morning, which is why I'm here to represent him. This is the second phase of this project. The EIA process in the EPA is people-centered and very, very consultative. We all know that after the establishment of the EPA, government and the Parliament, through the EPA Act in 2008, mandate us to issue what they call Environmental Impact Assessment License, which is one of the preconditions for development projects in this country. And the phase one of this road project was reviewed by us, and the license were issued for Kailahun to Buedu Road. So a few days back, when we had the news about the bank demand for us to expedite the EIA process to ensure that licenses are issued for the second phase, which is the Buedu, Koindu up to Yenga and the Liberia part of the road. We were very happy because we in the EPA, we are here to ensure that development is done, but in a sustainable manner. And like the Honorable Member of Parliament was saying, in terms of community issues, in terms of the environment, in terms of our impact, we are here to monitor the process. And as I speak, we are in consultation with the consulting team from the SLRA, and they've given us a lot of reports which we are reviewing. This is the 6th stage of the EIA process. At this stage, we expect, because we were in Koindu, where you have the project affected communities, and in Koindu, a lot of issues were raised in terms of concerns, in terms of questions, in terms of clarifications on the impact on RAP, in terms of relocation, all of those compensation issues came up. But here we are here because we have project-interested people. Stakeholders here have interest in this project. And you have those that have direct impact on the, with the project. So we are expecting all of us here who are here to ensure we ask relevant questions pertaining the project, and where we have our own capacity to address in terms of grievance, in terms of the impact, in terms of mitigation measures. We are here so that we can also join the consultants to address those challenges. But after this meeting, we are expecting the reports to be submitted to the EPA. And this report will be uploaded in our website, where people can have access to read. And it's a public document. It will be available for every interested parties to know what is in the document. But from what I gathered, there are a lot of components that are within this document, which has to do with the market, the road, the accessibility in terms of trade, and other important issues that the project is working with. So we, on behalf of the Executive Chairman, Dr. Bondi Gebao, and the EPA board, we will sit and listen to a lot of maybe concerns, questions from all of us here, and we will take that into account while we are doing our reviews of the documents. Possibly by the end of, by mid next month, we'll have a board meeting where these documents will be, submitted to the members of, the board members of the EPA. Then decisions will be made. So I thank you, and as we continue, if there are any questions that has to do with EPA, we are here. I'm here with a colleague, Marie Kanneh. She's a senior environment officer at the EPA, who will endeavor to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the more reason why I think your presence is very right in this meeting. Not only your presence, but the rest of the stakeholders here present. Because at the end of the day, it is all of you gathered here that will give credence to the very project itself. So I want to thank you for your contribution, and as Riley said, questions and other issues may be raised as long as they are needed. So we thank you very much, and we hope we'll do our best to ensure that we meet to your requirement for the speedy expedition of the project. So on that note, I believe we invited a lot of stakeholders here to this disclosure. I will now want to use this opportunity to call on any stakeholder here, the police, the drivers union, petty traders, bike riders, any other stakeholder present here. Just raise your hands up, and then you make your little contribution. Announce the organization you're representing, your name, and all the rest of it. We appreciate it very much. So it's open to the rest of the other stakeholders, the police. You're welcome. Drivers Union. Petty traders. We are all beneficiaries to this very, very important project, and your input is really but very much necessary. So that is why we are calling on you to at least make a statement on behalf of your representatives. The police, of course, may want to say something. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Okay. So, can we have a word or two from any of our colleagues? if necessary. The yeah. Not just statement, yeah. The DDG is not here.
Okay. Well,
So you give the project, yeah.
Good morning now. Basically, this particular exercise is for it's for us to go through procedures for both national as well as the bank's conditionalities before the project is being approved. The project is the Mano River Union Road Development and Transport Facilitation Program. We're preparing the phase 4 now. Currently, we're implementing the phase 3, which aims to improve 25-kilometer road. And this particular phase 4 will complete the link, the remaining link between Kailahun to Koindu and to the borders, Guinea and Liberia border. We are preparing the project itself, which will, as I mentioned, upgrade the 39-kilometer road. And as my colleague from EPA rightly mentioned, there are other aspects that the project itself will undertake as a form of complementary to the road itself. This will include support to SMEs. This will also include support to the markets, and so on and so forth. We're expecting it to be implemented in the next 3 years once it's approved. So it's being financed by the African Development Bank, and we're expecting, after the disclosure, we're expecting the documents to be taken to their board in September. Once it is taken to their board and decision is made, then we will start the activities or the implementation itself. So feel free, if you need any other information, even after this particular exercise, the SLRA is here. Ask or make inquiries, and then the rightful information will be provided. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lagali. As time is not really in our favor, I'll call on the environmental specialist in our midst here to do the presentation on the ESHIA and the RAP report.
Good morning, everybody. I would like to apologize for coming late. We are just coming from the field. This is to assure our MPs that we've not been sleeping. For the past 2 days, I've been in the field and I have not set my eyes closed because the bank has some forms which we have to fill and disclose the RAP information to every PAP. That means we have to go to the communities, gather all the PAPs, and ensure that they sign and are endorsed or authenticated by their local authorities. So imagine having about 300 and something PAPs. That has not been an easy task. And we did not sleep until 4 a.m. and we had to leave immediately. That's why we are late. So we are very sorry for being late. As my colleague has explained to you, this is the Mano River Union Road Development and Transport Facilitation Program, which has several projects embedded in it. And it's being financed by the African Development Bank. Phase 3 is ongoing, and Madam, I would like to tell you that the project for Kailahun, Buedu has started, but of course, you know, you cannot come to a community and start working if you don't have a place to lay your head. So the camp construction is part of the project. It has started. It is the road that has not started, but I want to allay your fears that all materials needed for the construction are being sourced and stockpiled. So once the dries are here, you will see a speedy implementation of the project. You shouldn't be afraid of that. So I go straight to the slides. Because of time, I might skip certain things. I'm going to give a brief summary. But if you need any information as stakeholders, you are free to come back to us and ask us, and we'll give you details about the project. Okay? So this is the outline of the presentation. We've looked at the background, why the objectives for doing such projects. We've also looked at the objectives of the road construction, objectives of the EIA, the scope, the methods that were used, the project location, policies that are governing the implementation of these projects have been looked at, and the description of the project environment, which is important, like to the donor. He wants to know where the project is found. For us that are here, we know the location. We've looked at project alternatives. Why do we look at project alternatives? Because you have to select the alternative that is economically viable, socially accepted, and environmentally viable. So we looked at those alternatives, and you'll soon see them soon. We've also done a RAP report that is a standalone, but we have a summary on the RAP here in this project, here in this disclosure that will be disclosed to you. And we looked at the impacts that might occur that are anticipated as a result of these construction projects. We looked at consultation process, because as SLRA, we believe that for a road project to be successful, people have to be involved in it. And as the admin director rightly said, this is an institution with specialists from all walks of life. I am an environmental and social specialist. We have a department now that has environmental and social specialists. So when the civil works are ongoing, we are like a liaison between the works and the people, so that nobody is affected adversely. And we've put in place some environmental and social management mitigation measures that will be monitored in the form of an environmental management plan that will make sure that the contractors implement. And because we know that sometimes grievances arise because of such projects, misunderstandings might lead to grievances. We have a mechanism in place called the grievance redress mechanism that will handle all project-related grievances, including the resettlement action plan. And we'll give opportunities for Q&A. After that, we'll go to the conclusion and we'll end. We've told you that the project is a program, it's part of a program that has been implemented in a phase, and with phase 1, phase 2 has been implemented in Liberia, Guinea, and Ivory Coast. Phase 3 is ongoing in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and of course between Sierra Leone and Sembo, what's going on? Between Sierra Leone and between Sierra Leone and Guinea. Okay, so let me go ahead so that I don't waste time. So the phase we are at now is phase 4. We are preparing phase 4, and phase 4 is where the Buedu to Koindu to the Liberian and Guinea border roads projects will be, and other interventions that we'll soon see. We are sorry for the technical hitch, but we'll get there. So, you know all of this, like the 25-kilometer between Koindu and Guinea border, the 4.6 between Koindu and Liberian border. What's the program objective? One of the objectives is to ensure that there's an opening of the interior of Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone to strengthen regional integration and trade. We know as ECOWAS members, that is our key focus, to ensure that there is free movement of goods and people across borders. And this is one way the bank is looking at integrating us and strengthening our relationship. So specifically, they want to improve the level of service of the road in question, the 39-kilometer road from Buedu, well, from Kailahun, Buedu, and to the end, to the borderline. And also they want to improve accessibility and living conditions of our people in the program's area of influence. What does that mean? We all know Koindu in those days, like Madam said, was a breadbasket, and we've gathered rich information that told us that in those days when Koindu was booming, flights used to go for revenue to come and pay workers in Freetown during the Shaka Stephen era. That touched my heart, and it told me that this is a very important place. So for the bank to look at this and say they want to improve living conditions, once the market rebooms again, that will be ensured. So this is one of their specific objectives, and they want to help to build the portfolio of future road programs and new pipeline roads by carrying out studies. There are some studies attached to this program which will be done in Sierra Leone. For instance, the Bo Yile, right? The Bo Yile Road. That one is the studies are being funded by this program. So these are some of the things the program is doing. Whilst it's implementing ongoing projects, it also has a package for studies to prepare pipeline projects so that the portfolio does not close at the point of the project conclusion. Now, what's our objective of constructing this road? We want to enhance connectivity as said by the program objective between Sierra Leone, Guinea and Liberia. And we want to reduce travel time drastically across this road. We want to enhance operational efficiency of this road. We all know I have been a victim of this. I've slept in the road for 12 hours because my vehicle got stuck. So we want to reduce that type of impact by enhancing the efficiency of the road. And also want to improve economic growth of not only the region but our nation at large. We want to improve on safety and reliability of all, for all our road users. We want to also attract diverse traffic. Now you can only see few bikes and more of trucks, and they are destroying the road. But we want to see mini buses ply the road. We want to see government buses going as far as Koindu, which will mean reduction in trucks plying that route and more favorable transport types going through the route. And we also want to provide employment opportunities for people across the road. And we believe as SLRA that roads are a foundation or a vehicle to development. Once the road comes in, I'm pretty sure many other infrastructural developments will follow. Yesterday I gave an example of when we started the studies in 2019 and we go to the road, we see big banana. I'll rush at it and they will say it's 10 leons. You know, I'm flabbergasted. I say, what? And here in Lumley, they will sell you 3 bananas, and this is a whole head. But it will interest you to know that because there is a contractor in lot 1, the price has been increased to 120. If these people get the 120, they are able to feed themselves. But what can you do with 15,000 for goodness sake? So that's impressive. It means, yes, prices will go up, but there will be the actual prices of these goods that will benefit our farmers. So what is the objective of doing an ESHIA? The primary objective is to predict, assess, analyze the possible beneficial and adverse environmental and social risks and impacts anticipated as a result of the implementation, operation of and the commission phases of the construction of the road. And specifically, we want to not only predict these impacts or risks, we want to evaluate them and know if mitigation measures can be put in place to address them satisfactorily and reduce the adverse impact significantly on our people and on the biophysical environment. We also want to make sure that the measures, beneficial impacts are enhanced. For instance, there is trade going on. So if we improve on the market to make it an international market, like Madam was saying, if the market is to be improved to have resting facilities or hostel facilities, that is going to enhance trade in Koindu. Rather than just rushing from Freetown to go to Koindu, buy your goods and rush back to town, that means you have to sleep on the in the vehicle along the road. But if you know there is a place you can stay, you can go in earlier, get yourself ready to buy your goods and come back not exhausted, you know. So these are some of the enhancement measures that are accompanying the reason why we want to do an EIA, because we'll be able to know what are the benefits and enhance them. Also, we want to facilitate, we want to consult with our people. Gone are the days when you do projects, you just come from top, bottom. You are hungry, you look hungry, you put rice into somebody's mouth. No, we come to our people, we consult with them. Now they are living in the road corridor. They know what are the flood levels, for instance, for seasonal streams. So it is very important for us to consult with them, you understand? So consultation is key in the objectives of an EIA process. So we did that. We ensured that our people were properly consulted and all their concerns and questions were incorporated in this report, and we are taking more through the disclosure. Now, we also have prepared a detailed environmental and social management plan that is with measures that are workable, right? You don't come and say, oh, if the workers are on site, I'm going to buy a mobile toilet. That is not workable. So these are the things we look at while preparing an ESMP, and it's very key. And we also have a monitoring plan in place to ensure that our project is implemented sustainably. Now, I've spoken about this. This is the scope to facilitate an understanding of the baseline. We want to understand what the baseline looks at zero, no intervention. How is the road operating? And if we have to come in, what measures do we have to put in place? For instance, to take care of flood in the road, to take care of seasonal streams that are crossing our roads and making it impossible to pass through during August. So these are some of the scopes, and we also predict the important measures that are to be put in place to take care of these impacts. Now, the methods included consultation, which is key. I've spoken about that. We've done reviews about the climate, about the soil type, the activities that are ongoing there. We did some field investigations and collected data on site. We've also done impact identification and analysis, and we have also used expert opinion. We all know the project road is located in the Kailahun district, and it goes through 3 chiefdoms, Kisi Ten, Kisi Tongi, and Kisi Kama. It commences at Buedu, through Koindu, then to Mende, Nongowa, and Yenga, and terminates at the bridge that is going to be constructed between Sierra Leone and Guinea. That one, I want to tell you, is already under phase 3. So people were asking us on site, how will we get to the water side? We told them, if the bridge is constructed, the road will get to the bridge. Because if you say I cannot get to my water, but you allow me to construct a bridge over the water, you cannot stop me. So I want to assure you that I am sure government is working behind the scenes to ensure that whatever risk of security is at the Yenga point is being looked into, and this report has also captured that risk. It might not be part of our project, but we bring it to donors. In risk assessment, you cannot say, okay, the scope does not allow for fencing. You understand? If I know a fence is needed, I will pick it out and say, if the fence is not made here, then there is a risk of theft or whatever. So we have captured this risk of security with the Guinean personnel coming into Yenga and constructing permanent structures, and we are going to make sure that the bank knows about it and helps the government of Sierra Leone to have a permanent solution to that. And also, prominent towns found along this road are Kangama, Koindu, and Yenga, because it is a critical point that has been having some security threats. But we know at the end of this program, we will have a peaceful corridor and a peaceful relations between our neighbors of Guinea and Liberia by the grace of God. Now, I spoke to you that we've looked at policies, both national and donor policies, and we identified some policies or legal framework that we are going to look at and ensure that our project is guided by this policy and legal framework, including institutional provisions for the project. Now, we have looked at the provisions under the National Environment Policy. We have looked at the public health policy. We have looked at the provisions inside the Public Health Policy 2015-202, and we've looked at the African Development Bank's Integrated Safeguard System 2013. All of these will be guiding our implementation of the project. And looking at the legal provisions, for instance, the Constitution of Sierra Leone makes provision for a forceful acquisition of land for the public good. However, being a government like a parent, he does not want to just take your land from you for the benefit of everyone. The Constitution has made a provision for timely and appropriate compensation to such a person. So you have to also consult with them and tell them that we need your private property for the public good. And you convince them or you persuade them that this will also benefit you, and you make sure that you give them appropriate compensation. EPA has been our key partner in the implementation of our road projects, because normally road projects fall under the first schedule, and we have to ensure that we comply with all the processes that are required so that we save our environment and we do not make roads for people who will not appreciate it at the end of the day. The Local Government Act allows us to work with the councils in implementing our project. The Land Laws, the Forestry Act, Wildlife Conservation, Sexual Offences Act, all of these acts have been looked into, and we have made sure that mitigation measures that are designed for this project have captured the provisions that are in these policies and legal framework. Now, we all know that the project, I don't want to go into these scientific nitty-gritties to bore you. Let me go to something more important. We've looked at project alternatives, and we considered 3 alternatives. I'm sure Madam will not like the first alternative, which says do nothing. Don't touch that road. Leave it as it is. That alternative is not good because it's going to cost government more than what he will spend to make the road. Imagine government sending in contractors every year to do a seasonal maintenance, which might not last through even the dry season, you know, because of the rich soil type that is good for agriculture. And how is it going to impact our people? It's going to deteriorate their social life. And environmentally, the environment is going to be degraded further. So what did we decide for this alternative? We said no, this one has adverse environmental, economic, and social impact, which will affect not only our people but our country, because then we'll be cut off from our bread basket that should be feeding us, rather we'll be feeding our neighbors that are close by. So we said no, we will not choose that. We looked at realigning the road by opening up a new road in the forest. That is going to have adverse environmental impact because we are going to cut much more trees, which will involve destroying many plantations, and people will be left without livelihoods. And also, if they are left without livelihoods, they are going to be impoverished. So we said no, we don't want that. We looked at surfacing the road with either concrete, bricks, or asphalt. If we use concrete, maintenance is going to be very costly and difficult. We said no, we cannot use concrete. With the trucks plying that route, if we use blocks, they are going to destroy them in one ride. We said no, we cannot waste our resources. We look at asphalt that has a physiology that meanders itself or manages the two seasons. During the dries, you see our asphalt is dry and okay, and during the rains, it can manage with the weather. So we said we will take the third option, but of the third option, we'll also take the third pavement layer, which is an asphalt cover from Buedu to the borders. So that is the option we took because it's less expensive, it's socially and environmentally viable. So we took that one. Now we look at impact from two perspectives: adverse or negative impacts and positive or beneficial impacts. For beneficial impacts, we said during the implementation there is going to be creation of jobs, direct and indirect. Direct creation of jobs or job opportunities will be for those who will be employed by the project. And indirectly, we've seen that even for the phase 3 lot 1 at Kailahun, before the project came in, there was no cookery sales. But now we have cookery huts. This is an indirect benefit of employment opportunity. The woman might have started with 2 cups or 3 cups, but now she's cooking for the entire workforce and getting some resources for herself and her family. So that is a form of employment. And for our people also who are in farming, they do fruits and garden vegetable farms. Those ones, people come from Freetown and they will go and say, this okra, I'm going to pay you for a kilo 10 leones. But now, if I go to the road, I can buy from them, not even negotiating, because I have passion. I want to see them grow. I want to see them like myself. So if they say it's 15 leones, I'll buy it at 15. Because they had no options before, some of them are afraid of accidents while plying the routes to come to market. They will rather sell to those Freetonians who spoil their price. Now they will have a better economic income because they will have a decision for their price making. Also, we believe that security will improve in the region. And we believe that there will be transport fares will be reduced. For instance, from Buedu, I think, to Koindu, it's about 50 or 60,000. Madam, it will interest you to know that we wanted to bypass the Buedu and go through there. 2 of my tires came down because the road is so bad. For me to take the tire to Koindu to repair, I had to pay 120,000 liros. And the tire man told me, you pay 140 or I will not fix it. You understand? But if the road is fixed, there will be so many tire people. You cannot charge one person 140,000 for goodness sake to repair a tire. So these are some of the benefits that will come in. And we believe that the national economy will improve. There will be large-scale agricultural production. At the moment, people produce, but they don't have the opportunity to go to market and sell, so they only produce at small scales. So we believe there is going to be an improvement. Like we have some grasslands there where vegetables can do very well. So if the Koindu market is going to be re-established, these ones will lead to vigorous agricultural practices. Although the road is a dusty road, we believe that with the construction, dust in the atmosphere is going to reduce, and the benefit from that is there is going to be a reduction in respiratory tract diseases, because these are one of the impacts. We found out that there is high rate of TB due to the dust, cold, TB, pneumonia. So we believe all of that will stop and it will improve the health of our people. There is going to be also, I've just said it, the most important is the road is going to be safe for everyone to ply it. Negatively, during construction, there is going to be increase in noise and vibration due to the equipment and the plying of the construction trucks. There is going to be a possible risk of accident. We all know that with construction, accidents are unforeseen events, but knowing the typical behavior of Sierra Leoneans, whether workers or elite or not, we look at risk and they will tell you, "Now God gave me life." So because of those mentalities, we are anticipating that there will be a risk of accident. Someone will see a truck coming and he will say, "I'll run across before he comes." All those kind of things. So we are saying that might be an impact. We have put measures in place to make sure that it does not actually occur, because we do not want to have fatalities while implementing our projects. Generation of solid waste, we all know that where 2 or 3 people are gathered, we'll have construction waste, we are going to have domestic waste. So we have put measures in place to make sure that, for instance, cut to spoil, which is a construction waste, is taken to a spoil area, and domestic waste, plastic, rubber is recycled, and the others are taken care of. Like the biodegradable ones will be they will dig a hole wherein they will put them and make sure that it does not affect the soil adversely. And for like hazardous waste like oil, what we've put in place for that is, normally in construction, hazardous oil does not waste. We do not throw it into the soil to degrade the soil. It is used in form works. When they are doing concrete works, the concrete might stick on the board or the metal, so they line in the walls with those kind of waste oil to ensure that it detaches when it's dry. So we are going to use recycling method to ensure that we do not destroy the environment, but we leave it as it is or make it better. And also, because we need huge water in construction, there might be a risk of conflict or water quality pollution. Water pollution due to extraction of water. So what we've put in place is that if you are extracting water from a stream that is being used by the community, you either make an alternative provision for these people to have water, access to water, or you extract from larger streams or larger rivers, wherein the risk of percolation and siltation, all those kind of things will be minimized. We all know where 2 or 3 men are gathered, they will also look at women, and the women will look for people with high power, economic power. So we are thinking that there will be a risk of spread of sexually transmitted disease, and what we've put in place is awareness raising and sharing of condoms among the workers and among our community members. As adults, we cannot stop you from mingling with people, but if you are working on the project, you have to sign a code of conduct that guides your behavior. You cannot just come into a community and start being sexually promiscuous. That will not be accepted in our project. Health, safety, environmental risk. Occupational health and safety risk can be a thing that will be among the workers. For instance, we know it's a typical practice. They are giving PPs, personal protective wears. Some of them do not wear it. A typical example is when we are implementing the Matotukaye road, and SALCOS had given them full PPs, appropriate and adequate PPs. And when I came to site, the guy was telling me he's working in a dusty area. I cannot use nose mask. I've been working like this since I was a child. And if I'm going to die here, means that's where God marked my life. Can you imagine the mentality? So what we intend doing is we are going to educate them about the risk involved in not using the PPEs that are given to you, you know, so that we will reduce the impacts that are associated with that. For this project, we have an impact relating to cultural heritage. There is a shrine affected very close to the Liberian border, and we have engaged with the town chief and the people to know what we need to do to relocate that shrine. And it's part of our compensation package. They are going to undertake ceremonies, and whatever ceremonies they will be undertaking are going to be paid for by the project, so that we solve this problem. We do not cause a problem for our people's way of worship. I've spoken about impact on water resources. I've spoken about occupational health and safety hazards. These are some of the mitigation measures. There is going to be an involuntary resettlement or forceful resettlement. You are on the road and you have to move because this project is for the public good. But what we've put in place as a mitigation measure, we consulted with our people and we told them there are different types of compensation. One can be relocation. We acquire a land in a particular space and we relocate all the project affected persons to that place. We build for them and relocate them. Because this is going to affect them psychologically, they said, no, we don't want to leave our people. We have been born here. We want to stay with our clan. We decided we cannot use that type of compensation. There is also, we also told them that you can decide that, okay, I will build my own house, or I will rebuild a new house. That means we will have to pay for you to rebuild a new house. So what we ended with cash compensation. For the structure that is affected, for the crops that is affected, we do cash compensation. And the rates are dependent for cash crops on the agriculture rates, market price rates. That is what we took to value the crops that are going to be destroyed. For the structures, we looked at the Ministry of Works rates for buildings and the type of buildings. And we have other things like inconvenience cost, relocation costs that are attached to whatever rate is given for your building that's going to be removed. So we add that to your compensation and we'll pay that. For excessive noise, we've said we'll put in regular maintenance of equipment to reduce the noise, and also we'll work during the day. We'll limit our works during the day to allow our community people to rest, because most of the time in these communities during the day, all the people go to the farms and the plantations, so there is nobody around. Noise will not adversely affect them. And the possible risk of accident, we are going to put speed limits, speed humps, and enforce the use of PPEs. And I'll also appeal to our honorable MPs to ensure that whenever you have the opportunity, you talk to our people. If you are given PPEs, use them. It's for your good. Because there is coming a time, if I come to site, I meet you without PPEs, and I look at the register you've been supplied, I'm going to send you home without pay. These are the requirements. The bank is saying if our people do not know why they should protect themselves, we should put enforcement measures in place to protect them. So also, solid waste, I've spoken about what we are going to do. For energy consumption, we all know that greenhouse gas emissions scientists have said are contributing to global warming. So what we intend doing, once an equipment or a vehicle is idle, you have to switch off your engine so that you reduce the emission from the trucks. And safety and environmental risks, we've said PPE use, traffic management, and the like. Soil pollution due to oil spills, we are not going to locate mechanical works yard close to any sensitive receptors like swamps, floodplains, and the like. And what we've done, we have put measures in place that contractors should pave the mechanical works area and the fuel station areas, and they should have oil traps at maintenance yards, so that when they wash their vehicles, they should be able to tap out the oil from the water and use it in these formworks. Cultural heritage, we've said we are going to pay for we don't have graves here, we only have a shrine, and we are going to pay for its relocation and the ceremonies that will be performed. We were told they need to buy goats and some other items, so we've itemized the cost and we are going to pay for that. We've also looked at water resources. Abstraction will be avoided from smaller streams, and we'll prefer for it to be done in bigger rivers. Now, this is a summary of the resettlement action plan, because we don't want to bring another slide to show you that this is what we have done in the resettlement action plan. We have about 40 dwellings that are going to be affected from Buedu to the two border towns. However, we have about 86 businesses. Some of them are just touch, like them buffer, but we are going to pay for all of them. And for those ones, even if it's a buffer, makeshift structure, as long as you are selling something there, that's your livelihood source. We have put a package for livelihood restoration. Their businesses might not reach up to, say, 1 million, but we've put a package in place so that if you are going to move from that location, you'll be able to start a better business in another location. So that is taken care of. And as we said, we've been able to identify 2 community structures that will be affected. At Kangama, there is a well, but we are not going to affect the well, we are going to affect the fence around the well. So we put a package in place, and for community structures, we don't just pay for them, we allow the chiefs to set up an implementation committee, because for the bank, we need to make sure that these community structures are replaced and restored. So in my monthly reports, I have to report on the status of the implementation, how much money has been used, and what is the status of such implementation. So we are going to follow up on that to make sure that what we are paying for the community to benefit will not be taken by the chief and swindled, but it will be implemented and replaced. The other structure is the shrine. I've spoken about it. Measures are put in place to ensure that the relocation is done, and I will be present there with my social officer. We are going to document the process and send it to the bank, and whosoever is interested in such reports will have the opportunity to see them. Other structures that were affected along the road include kitchens, fences, unfinished buildings. We know at Koindu there are several unfinished buildings that were abandoned during the war, but for our project we believe that these people might be in existence. Though the chief told us they were foreigners that were given land, we've decided to put compensation costs for them, and we will have that compensation cost ring fence, so that if we are halfway in the implementation and somebody comes from Mali and said, my father built this house, and there is an old person in town, elderly people are able to say, yes, this man's father built this house, we'll pay the compensation to them. So we have deliberately left soft structures as unknown, because the chiefs are saying, this is our land, you should give it to us, but we do not want to adversely affect anybody. What is due you should be given to you. It will be kept in the account until maybe at the point we have defect liability ending, then we'll communicate to government and say, these people have not showed up. What do? Do we send the money back to the consolidated fund? Then it will be kept there. That is what we have done to minimize any discrepancy and any impact relating to people having their compensation paid. For the tree crops, we were able to identify 749 crops that will be affected, mainly along communities. And you might say, what about the plantations? We know that few other projects have come in before us preparing this project, and they've cleared the right of way in those areas, affecting some of those crops. So we found out that in the outside the project corridors, the plantations are far away, and we have not taken any crop inventory in those plantations. However, if during implementation we are going to affect any crop, there is provision for eventualities. It will be paid for. As part of our complementary initiative under this project, the construction of the Koindu market is one. So we need to talk closely to know what you have and what we'll put into the project. Maybe we are constructing the market facility with a wash. Your people you want to bring in are constructing hotels. We can look at how we can complement each other so that we have a very good international market that will host many more countries rather than the 4 that used to come. And also, we are going to support health centers. We might decide to say we build new blocks, but we've left it at this. We are going to assess the needs again as implementation starts, but there is money for that. Capacity building of SMEs. We know there are several small produce markets there. We have agricultural sales markets there. We are going to train some of them and the farmers for them to have enhanced knowledge as to how they can build their market, rather than somebody coming from Freetown or Guinea and dictating the price to you in your own community. You should have the decision power to say, I have planted, I use 100,000, I should make another 100 so that I sustain this planting for the next year. So there is a package for that. And we did vast consultation. This picture here, I don't know if the cursor is showing, the one top right is we were consulting at Koindu with the town chief and the speaker. They were the first point of call. Normally when we go to these communities, we meet them first, the leaders, and we do one-on-one consultation with market people, with inhabitants. That's what we did. If you look at the picture up there, that is under lot 1, but we were able to see that these children are coming from different villages, say 6 or 7 villages, and they have attached school. It touched my heart, you know. I came from a village setting. If I'm able to be educated, I did not sit under such thatched hat. So we took that so that the bank will see it and see what we can do to improve that particular school. And here, they don't have community centers, so we sat in the open in the chief's compound and we discussed at length what the problems will be, what the positive and negative impacts are, and we also asked them questions so that we'll enhance our decision making. Like I said, there is an ESMP, it's too small, you cannot see it, but these are, you see, there is an impact column. What are the mitigation measures? Who is responsible for monitoring the implementation? And what are the frequencies? Of course, there is also cost attached to that, implementing the mitigation measures. And like I said, we have a grievance redress mechanism. This mechanism will make sure that we set up committees in every local community and at district level. But because there is one already at the district council for lot 1, we might end up setting one for this other corridor, the lot 2 at Buedu, rather than there, because it's shorter for them. And we will also have one at PIU. PIU is the Project Implementation Unit, which normally entails specialists from SLRA. You have engineers, social officers, surveyors, different people. So we will sit and look at whatever problem is occurring and the complaints that are received, and we look for solutions that are acceptable to complainants. So this is in place to make sure that people that are aggrieved are listened to and their problems are being resolved. In conclusion, I would like to say that the project has been adequately assessed, and the impacts assess the impacts and provided mitigation measures that will be sustainable, that will be monitored to ensure the sustainable implementation of this project. And that is in the form of an ESMP, which is adequate to either avoid, where possible, adverse impacts, minimize or reduce them, or compensate for them. For instance, in the instance of crop removal, if the crop is found in the right of way, there is no way I can minimize that. Say, no, let not touch it. This is a standard road, it has specifications, and these specifications cannot be altered because there is a cutting tree in the road, because there is a chief's house in the road. It has to be, it cannot be removed, it cannot be reversed, it has to be compensated for. So in the package, you have either avoid, that is the first one, minimize or compensate for. So for some impacts, they will be compensated for some they will be avoided. For highways, normally the right of way is 30 meters, but we have decided to compromise and drop it down to 15 meters so that we will avoid the destruction of entire communities. Imagine some communities have 3 houses and you just come and sweep them away. What did the road do to them? It did not benefit them, because you are going to psychologically affect them, and that will take generations to wash out. So we decided we will minimize it and that is we'll avoid it. And also the overall rating among our people. EPA can bear me witness. At Koindu, we invited 80 people. We had over 150. And when they were asked with all these impacts, do you still want the road? All of them stood up. They did not just raise their hand, but they stood up. On that note, I want to thank you for listening to me, and I'll open the floor for Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Lucy. Thank you very much. So I think the floor is open for questions. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Well, please, when you are asking a question, you kindly state your name, if you are representing any institution, so that it will be recorded.
So, can I go ahead? Yeah. Honorable Engineer Falatenge, Kailahun District. So, I have a couple of, well, maybe questions or short statements, reactions that I would like to make based on the presentation. The first one is this: what guarantee do we have that after the successful implementation of the road leading to Yenga is in place, the Guineans will not come again and destroy that section of the road if the Yenga problem is not resolved before the road reaches there? I think that's the first question or concern that I have. And the second one, during the presentation, if memory could serve me well, I learned that the international market to be constructed in Koindu is in place, but that is subject to the outcome of the ESHIA report. Is that correct? Okay, so that's another question. If at all, because we have been told in the past and the news that is going that the market already is in progress. During the, I don't know, maybe I skipped that aspect. I want to know whether if after the successful rolling out of the ESHIA studies, then the recommendations that will come after, if it is such that the market is not viable or it has got some environmental stuff that will not be constructed, whether that will actually deprive the people from the international market. So that's just a question. That's another question that I have. And also, during the presentation, thank you, madam. It was a very good presentation. During the presentation, you spoke about PPEs, personal protective equipment. So, well, really not a question, but a request that maybe during implementation, if we can embark on toolbox talks, we do like training that will actually help promote the people to stick to the safety rules. Remember, these are rules that we are not born with, and some have never been opportune to like maybe interface with engineering jobs. But with training, coordination, and continuous toolbox talks, that can help enhance their compliance level. And of course, I was happy that you touched a bit on the cultural heritage. That is very critical when it comes to dealing with our people. That, you know, there has been some consideration about relocating the shrines and encouraging the people to see how they could go through their traditional processes with happiness to relocate their own shrine. I think that would just give us peace over there. So thank you for that. I think that was a good one. And to me, the last one that I would like to ask is that for every project, actually, you must know, I don't know, for some projects, they keep it maybe indoors for some time. One, what would be the project ballpark? And two, what, yes. And two, what would be like the project start, the proposed project start and end date? That is very critical. I think those are the few questions that I have for now. Thank you.
Okay, I think we can go through because we have about 5 questions.
Yeah.
5 questions. And then we move to the next respondent. You talk about the guarantee concerning the younger issue. Well, I would like to inform you that under the phase 3, we are constructing the bridge at Yenga. So already the ongoing project, the project that is building the road from Kailahun to Buedu, that has a package or a component for the construction of the 276-meter bridge at Yenga. We are at the penultimate stage because it is a regional project. The 2 countries are financing the bridge construction. So it's been implemented by, the lead in the implementation is the Mano River Union Secretariat. They have developed an agreement, the MOU, to be signed by both parties. Already on the Sierra Leone side we have signed. We had a kind of stalemate for some time because you know the transition in Guinea affected the signing of the MOU, but then they have been positive. In fact, the ADB group in Guinea initiated a meeting which was successful, and they have instructed the Minister of Foreign Affairs also to sign the MOU on behalf of the Guinean counterparts. That will trigger activities, the procurement and so on and so forth, to go on for the bridge construction itself. So I'm pretty sure that taking the road to the bridge, because if the bridge is being constructed, we'll just do probably the approach, and the maximum length that we can go maybe will be 300 meters, and then that will leave the gap on the road. So that is why we are building the road on this phase 4 that will take us to the bridge itself. So I'm sure peace will be restored in that particular location. So I'm talking about the market. During the project formulation, when we had consultation in 2019, everybody was talking about the market. And also, if you look at the initiatives that was presented, we talk about the support to the market and also to health centers. You know, from time to time, you have needs that may change. But then we are also in constant engagement with the Ministry of Trade, because they were also very key in the reinstatement of the Koindu market. So we'll see how what we have in the project can be, how we can complement that particular initiative under the project. We are supposed to have a committee. The coordinator has met with, we have had meeting with the Ministry of Trade. We want to see how we can package that aspect properly so that we will get the desirable effect. Okay. The use of PPE, of course, thank you for that particular recommendation. Of course, on the phase 3, the civil works aspects that we're implementing, we have initiated this kind of action, the toolbox talk. Even the day before yesterday, when we were from Koindu, we stopped by, encourage the use of PPE. As you rightly mentioned, our people are not accustomed to that tradition. They were provided with the reflectors. They're putting it in their bag. Some of them will put it in their pockets. And when you go on site, you see them going all around without the PPE. But then we're encouraging them. This is for your own safety. And as my colleague rightly mentioned, there will be time when we will implement punitive measures. at least on a number of staff for them to comply. Because you know our people, sometimes if you talk, when you leave, they continue the same practice. But then there'll be a time when we'll take 1 or 2 actions for them to see that if they do not comply, this is what will happen. Okay, so thank you very much for that. And also for the cultural heritage, yes, we are all local people, so we do not want to discontinue any practice. So that was why when we identified a particular structure, we provided package for whatever ceremony needs to be done for it to be relocated. And we will continue to monitor to make sure that that is being done. And the cost of the project, where the budget is $35 million. Okay, so you are asking about when will the project start? As I mentioned in my statement, this is the preparatory stage. Of course, when we send out this the reports, the bank will take the project concept note to their board. Then it is approved. That will be done in September. Okay, so as soon as the project is being approved, then we will initiate the implementation activities, the procurement for the various components, and then we will start the civil works. So it will be a 3 years program implemented.
This year.
Yes, it will be a 3 years program. So we're looking hopefully to start by January 2024. That will be implementing to 2027.
Any more question? Yeah.
Let me just add to what my colleagues have said so far. And Fudi Musa Amara, SLRA. I'm just adding to the first question that you asked about the guarantee that SLRA will have if the road is constructed as what we put in place, not to allow the Guineans to come back to our site to do some construct anything. My opinion is that SLRA is more of technical. We are the technical side, and you've listened to Madam Lucy. The team has put everything in place, all the risk measures, just so that the technical aspect is done. And I'm very much pleased that people like you are now in Parliament. We want to employ you, please assist us to talk to the government, so that at strategic level, the strategic issues are adhered to. For instance, he spoke about the MOU they've signed, MRU, and all parties involved. So whilst we are concentrating on the technical side, we want to actually ask of you to plead with those concerned that please, if this road is constructed with all the monies that we provided from taxpayers' money, let us put our efforts so that peace is achieved. The Guineans will not move to our part and will not move to their part and claim any land. And this, I think, you have to assist us in this. And that's the reason why this discussion is very much important. And I just want to say thanks to the team for putting this together. You see, the disclosure is about transparency. We want to be transparent to our people. That's all what SLRA is about. We want to make sure payments that is being made from taxpayers' money are well disclosed, so that we are aware as to how we spend this money. The second aspect is accountability. We want to be accountable to the city, to our subjects. We want also to make sure you make an input, like what we are doing. You see, at the onset, it's only you, your colleague honorable, and the EPA that make contributions. And this gathering is more like making input into this document, so that we improve our own activities, also improve on our activities. It's not just about coming here, we sit down And then after the program, we go back and in social media, we say, oh, SLRA is not doing this, SLRA. Help us to improve our activities. That's why most times this situation is organized. We want to make sure we build trust between the public and SLRA by disclosing our activities, how we spend our money, all of us have money, how we do our activities. I think that trust will be there. We also want to make sure we educate the public, awareness raising, sort of. That's what we are doing, and we want to make sure risks are being identified. We assess them, and then we make sure these risks are explained to citizens and how we can mitigate them. And then, of course, legal and regulatory issues are dealt with. So please, my esteemed stakeholders, please make an input into this document so that you help us to improve our activities. SLRA is not a be-all and end-all. We are technical people. There are things strategically we cannot handle, but by your input, we can make means and then we improve our activities. Thank you so much for your input, Honorable.
Any more addition to or contribution to the response? If not, then shall we please get more questions from? Yes, your name again and.
Yes, sir. I'm Deputy Superintendent of Police, Mohammed S. Kabir. My question is based on security. Will there be any provision for the construction of police posts during the implementation of the project, especially for police officers?
Yes. Yeah. I'm Engineer Nabe. Well, I'm not really representing any institution here. It's just that I'm interested in the road. I grew up in Kailahun, and those are my in-laws from the Kailahun area. I want to thank SLRA, especially Madam Lucy, for the presentation. All really what I wanted to ask has been clarified. But definitely my interest also was the security. Thank God, Foodie has come up with it. And I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Honorable. As he has rightly said, it is their place now. SLRA is there to implement the technical aspect of it. It's their place to help us. Maybe we'll also help to talk to authorities up there so we can see that peace is really in place. Because if we implement all these projects and if there is no peace, I don't think we can enjoy this project. I think that's all what I want to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the more questions we ask, the more info we get. One or two more questions.
Can I ask if I have another?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. During the presentation, well, maybe it was snappy, but I understand, but I'm asking because we are developing a document. So there is project location mentioned, but I didn't see anything like direct beneficiaries. So I am just of the view that though we know if you say Kisita and Kisitongi, it is going to be people within Kisitongi, but let it be captured into whatever proposal or concept that you be writing. The direct beneficiaries will be maybe people living along Koindu, Kisiteng, etc., etc.
Okay. Any other question? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Name and institution.
Francis Esley, Director of Infrastructure SLP. I want to thank Madam Lucy for the brief presentation. We saw some villages still without centers, some schools, where the people are sitting under mango trees and other places. But I don't know when your team was in, whether you visited the station.
Police station.
Yeah. But now the IDP we are having is from Koindu and this other place, Dia. And the station has been upgraded, but the building has not been upgraded yet. So I don't know whether when this development will be taking place, we will consider the security side. Because when it is now a division more personnel have been transferred to Koindu. And the more the people, the more we expect other infrastructural development.
And above all, the road will be passing right in front of
The state police station. So I don't know whether there will be consideration for the station.
Any more questions?
Yes, Engineer Nabi.
I know the road is from Buedu to Koindu. And there is another route from their junction. Definitely, I'm sure that might be used as a diversion. Is there any plan to see how they can improve on that diversion route from their junction?
Yes, so Engineer Nabe, thank you for supporting us. I think, as our director rightly said, we provide the technical support, and these sort of engagements is for other institutions and stakeholders to at least hear what we are doing and make necessary contributions to complement our efforts. So the direct beneficiaries of the project, of course, we look at the project road itself. But then, what we normally do when we are doing the monitoring and evaluation, we consider the project implementation zone to be 2 kilometers from the road itself. So when we are monitoring the impact, direct impact, that is what we establish as the project implementation zone. So 2 kilometer radius along the road itself. So of course we have communities along the road from Buedu, Bake, Kangama, Koindu, Turadu, Yenga. So 2 kilometers along these communities will be monitored. Okay, we have some indicators such as rural access index to see how the construction of the road affects some of these rural communities. Of course, when she was doing her presentation, she mentioned that alternative route was considered. Dia was looked at. The road from Kailahun, Sandialu, going through Dia was considered. But then, we noticed that not too far from Dia axis, you hit the river. And then you have most of the communities, they are along the road from Kangama. Okay, so if we are, it is shorter to get from Sandialu to go to Koindu. But then what will happen is it will leave out most of the communities where we have settlements. And then we will not be able to achieve some of the benefits that we're talking about now. You will have very limited communities being affected. But then when you go through the Kangama axis, and then you touch other village, Kojo, and so on and so forth. Okay?
I think the question is, now we've ascertained the fact that the road will be passing through Buedu to Koindu.
Yes.
Or are there provisions for another route that will benefit the exits?
Yeah, I think that, no, I was talking about yours first.
Okay.
When you were asking about the direct beneficiaries.
Okay.
So now the next AIG right? Yes. Unfortunately, during that particular engagement, nothing came up about the security forces, the police. But then I was there when we were doing the consultation. We met with Mr. Amara. He was here at So this is something that we capture. That is why we are doing some of these engagements. Okay, what are some of the things that we can do to complement the project itself? We want to build the road, but then security is key, as you rightly mentioned. We'll capture this, and we'll make sure that they come out very clearly in the report to see how we can complement the security forces along the road. There are few. These are just shanty structures like bush sticks and so on, where they have these posts along the road. Dambo, just at Buedu there, and also somewhere. Yeah, I think those two. Even in front of the police station, there is one, whatever there. It was captured. We are going to make payment for those little structures, and then we want to see that probably something better will be done. Okay, but in terms of support to the police station itself in Koindu, that was not captured. But as I say, we'll make sure that it comes out very clearly in this particular report. Yeah, thank you. Maybe my colleague wants to say something.
In line with that, I would also like to assure you that whenever we have engagements in the communities, the SLP is one critical stakeholder, key stakeholder we invite to these meetings. Our colleagues from EPA can attest that they were in the meeting for the disclosure, and even when we go to the field, we engage with them, but they've never told us anything about that. You understand? However, like Patrick said, we've captured 2 posts that we are going to pay for, which we expect them to reconstruct better posts. You understand? So, but in future, what you should also educate these police officers that if you are called to a meeting like that, for instance, in times of needs assessment, you have a need, I cannot identify your need. Maybe you like the shabby building. I cannot say I have to replace it. And really, we are not there to make buildings or construct buildings. We are there to make the road and whatever complementary interventions we can do as part of the project to enhance the benefit of the project. For instance, in some villages, if you do a health center, it's an enhancement. They might not even use the road because they don't come out of their communities. But the building for the health center will directly benefit them. So in future, we expect that when we engage with them, they should bring out their felt needs, because we ask them, what are some of the needs you have? They will just say, oh, this place is blah, 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 and that. Like when we were going to Yenga to do our consultation, in fact, they were more like, don't go there, we will not protect you. But we went there and we adhered to the security, whatever they have there, that you should not take pictures. Of course, we acted like spies and took pictures of their marker posts, and we have it as part of our report. Yes. So all of these are risks that we've captured, and it will come out clearly. So we expect that in future, they will fully participate. We don't call you to just come and listen to us tell you what we are doing. We also want to know how this intervention will touch your life. Okay? So yes, that's what I want to say.
To add to what colleagues have said, actually, there are high possibilities that the police is going to benefit from this project, because there was a similar project on the Soberet-Pamlap Road, wherein there was the component of a common border post. So this project also has got that component, which is a common border post. And the common border post actually is established, to control trade, between the 3 or amongst the 3 countries, but especially between Guinea and Sierra Leone. And the common border post usually always goes with security aspects. And therefore, as it was done at the border post there on the Guinea side on the Robert-Pamlap Road, similarly, you will have a structure there, to serve as security for that common border post. The only thing is that we don't know how much will be allocated for such a border, for such a police security, structure. But it's good you people brought this up. When we are going into the detailed design of the border post, we'll capture that in.
Do we have more questions? Yes. Talking about improvement routes. Yeah. Well, our mandate as SLRA is to maintain our routes. So whether it is under this project or not, reconsider maintaining the particular road from Sandialo to there. Of course, you are aware about the 30 lots or 40 lots project that is ongoing. We had discussions with the Ministry of Finance on how we can continue this particular maintenance activity. So that particular route is one of the projects that are under that particular, the 40 lots. So of course, whether it is under this project, it is not under this project per se. But then, as SLRA, we know what we're supposed to do on these roads. So we'll continue to advocate for financial support to do our normal maintenance on the roads. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Your name and
I'm Engineer Eka Jaida, Director of Traffic Safety and Engineering, SLRA. Of course, most of my concerns have been addressed by previous speakers. However, I just want to make a contribution regarding road safety and probably generally with sensitization when it comes to road infrastructure development. Of course, it is good that we are having such an engagement, but I believe also that we need to take it beyond this type of engagement. In our last engagement here, I think I mentioned the need to actually continue to collaborate with other institutions when it comes to road infrastructure development. One of such institutions is the Leone Road Safety Authority. We've got our establishments nationwide, and we have what we call the Road Safety R, which SLRA can use to continuously sensitize the affected communities with regards sensitizing them on road safety related matters during construction. So for example, they mentioned in the presentation about road safety measures that will be taken. But it's also important to continuously engage or sensitize the communities so that they understand that yes, road safety is very important and they should know how to cross the road, how to use the road at various time of the day and during construction. Also, I know there will be lollipop guys that will be actually manning or managing traffic control at the construction areas. We also need to engage professionals, the Sierra Leone Police, the Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority, to train those guys as to how to actually manage those lollipop sticks they will be using to manage traffic on the site. So I believe also the police do have their own ways of conducting sensitization in various communities. Sensitization is very key, in my opinion, throughout this project. Let's continuously sensitize the communities, let them understand the importance of the infrastructural development through various mediums. Let them understand the importance of safety through various mediums. I think that's just a contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Engineer Jaiga, thank you for pointing out the need to use the platform. Okay, I think our colleague here, Engineer Shilon, has been part of a number of road safety hours that you've been handling at the station. Of course, we have road safety components under this particular project, right? We'll be implementing sensitization or an awareness, and of course, we'll be undertaking road safety audits. Okay, so we'll also make sure that we tap into your platform under the awareness program. We'll make sure that the consultants work closely with your institution and your lollipop guys on implementing this particular activity. Thank you very much.
Yes. Additionally, I'm very much pleased that you mentioned thanks to the team for putting that as a separate line items for development of this project. You see, sustainability is what Madam Lucy spoke about when she was delivering her presentation. And if we have to attain that sustainability in terms of safety, the road safety audit will not just be at the end of the project. We want to make sure at the onset, that's before the project, and during and after. You remember the 3 E's: the engineering, the engagement, and the enforcement. And so therefore, the police, the SLRA, and us, SLRA, have to put us together to make sure we attain that sustainability. Many times, project rules are constructed, hoping that it eases, or it reduces crashes or so. In developing countries, we attest to the fact that 60 to 70% is not the case at all. The moment road is passed, our drivers, sorry to say, most of them are illiterates. Whether you educate them, you do or you don't, speed is their max word. So we've had series of crashes. Your report in 2020, 2019, 2020, 2022, and 2022 indicates that most of the crashes happened as a result of overspeeding, both within the urban centers as well as on the trunk roads. So it's good that we are beginning to do such. Let us work together. Road safety audit is very, very key. It's very, very key. So perhaps what I will ask that you do is to work with our team here, go through the design document, get rid of or itemize the road safety signs, which we all make sure the would-be contractor implements them, and then after the implementation, after the construction, we also audit to see whether those road safety audits, those road safety signs are actually installed and efficient. You know, your engagement in terms of communication with the public is very much vital, and that cannot be just done once or twice and then you forget about it. It's a whole package that have to run all over, right through the project period, even during the project design life. That has to, we need to make sure that is continued. Thanks so much for bringing that up, engineer.
And to add to that, engineer, I want to also inform you that whenever we go to the field to prepare a project, we involve your guys. We know there are road safety officers in Kailahun district, so we engage with them too, and we let them know what we are doing and how we will need their help to improve on what we are doing. And there was a typical question that was asked yesterday while disclosing in Kailahun. The JP asked me that, oh, the road from Pendembu to Kailahun has been constructed, but the road signs are disappearing. Then somebody said, oh, it's the responsibility of the SLRA. And some other person was, they were speaking on that tune, and some other person was saying, how do we solve this problem? And I asked them a typical question. SLRA is not everywhere. Maybe you have 1 or 2 staff in Kailahun, and SLRA also has only 1 staff in Kailahun town. But I think the role you can play to help us sensitize the population, because we are not everywhere. Once a road is constructed, you need to prepare the minds of our people that in handing over this road, it's like we are giving it over to them. They should take full responsibility. And I gave them a typical scenario. I said, your children are hungry, and they said, oh, it's been a while we've not eaten meat, and your wife cooks a delicious meal with meat, and you allow your neighbor's children to come and eat all the meat, and you are asking, Dad, how will we get meat in the sauce? It is their responsibility to take over the protection of those road furnitures, because we are not everywhere, you are not everywhere. So what I'm saying is, please, Once we involve you in the project and we land the project safely after defect liability, we hand it over to government of Sierra Leone and said the contractor has completed. Let your guys come in, maybe through radio programs, and say, if you see somebody, for instance, removing a road sign, arrest him, whether you are a civilian or not, take him to the police. And the police also affirmed that to them yesterday, that once you take them to us, we are going to make sure they replace it. So my appeal is, please let your guys know that this is their responsibility. It's not just to manage the traffic running in the town, but they should also look at those road furniture and ensure that the people know how to protect them, to help you and me. Please, thank you very much.
And that also goes to Honorable
Yes, of course.
Honorable Tembe. Is it? There's this chief in, I don't know whether it's in Daru or Shebwemu. He caught the paramount chief. I think he caught a thief.
Yes.
Cutting away the
road
road
signs.
signs. He took him to the police. He made sure the signs was
restored.
Yes, restored. And then not only that, he was also arraigned to court and then sent to jail. When once we set those precedents,
they will stop.
Yes. So please, Honorable, you see, I'm starting to have confidence that our politics will start to improve. Having you guys, the technical, for all these years, we have shied away from going to politics. Or we are technical people, or we are technocrats. And my appeal also to Engineer Nabe, please emulate Honorable. Yes, let us please try. We are not going there to destroy. We are not. Fine. Yes. So we are not going there. We are not going there to take their work from them, but we are going there to put things straight.
And 6 times.
I know. You remember on our Salon Engineers group, every time there's a bashing of SLRA. Oh, you don't do this. You don't do this. You just listen to her. We are not everywhere. Just a single staff in Kailahun. A single staff in Kanneh, a single staff in Kono. We cannot be everywhere. But with you guys now shadowing the corridor of politics, we are appealing that you appeal to your subjects, talk to them, your paramount chief, your town chief, talk to them. Help us. They are not actually helping only us. They are helping all of us.
Themselves.
Yes. Because when you take a road sign off the line, you are endangering somebody else's life. So please, help us. So it's not only to SLRA, but our staff quantum is more than theirs. So please, you have to help us and we'll help you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have really exhausted the day. I believe the situation has been really given due diligence. It has been a very fruitful engagement, and I want to believe that you will also all agree with me that the presentation have addressed all the environmental impact, social, health hazards, we raise up there as our concerns. And one thing we want to assure you at the SLRA is that we are not going to just display all of these things on paper, but we're going to ensure and we want to assure you that at the end of the day, you really see them implemented at the sites. So on behalf of the Director General and the management of the SLRA, I want to use this opportunity to thank you once again for such a wonderful engagement. And I believe our sister institution there, EPA, will do justice to our report when it is out. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you very much.
So I think Kanneh, I say what I don't know if you have any. Is there any announcement?
Yes.
Apart from